Hey, it's Brian and Max here at San Diego Comic-Con, where we just got out of the Hall H panel for the once canceled, now actually coming out to theaters, Coyote versus Acme movie. I'm so happy. I was just beaming with joy for that entire hour.
I might have teared up a little bit.
Yeah.
So if you're unfamiliar, this is a movie based on a 1990 New Yorker article about Wyle E. Coyote suing the Acme Corporation for its many defective products that have caused him to explode and fall off cliffs over the years. It got announced as a movie by Warner Brothers back in 2018. And then in 2023, it was announced that Warner Brothers was going to shelve it as a tax write-off for $30 million. And then there's this whole thing where they decided they would put it on the market, but they wanted like $100 million for it. Long story short, it is actually coming out. We have a release date. It is coming out August 28th, 2026. It's being distributed by the same company that put out The Day the Earth Blew Up. And we got to basically see a bunch of clips from the film. And yeah, I'm really glad we're going to get to actually see this movie. It looks incredible.
Yeah, so the panel was moderated by Paul Scheer, and he brought out Will Forte, who is the lawyer in the movie. Very sort of like cumbersome, clumsy dude who is not really good at being in court. And he's representing an animated Wile E. Coyote. So think, basically a mix of humans and cartoons in the same way Who Framed Roger Rabbit or something like that, Space Jam in that light. So this movie is going to feature 10 different Looney Tunes characters plus a ton of cameos.
It's going to feature a lot of Looney Tunes characters.
Yeah.
But they had Eric Bauza, who voices basically the principal Looney Tunes cast. I think he said he's playing 9 characters. There's going to be a lot of Looney Tunes characters in there, and he's voicing a good chunk of them. Bugs Bunny's going to be in it. Kind of not really that surprising, but again, maybe minor spoilers here. Bugs Bunny plays a sort of deep throat style informant. We saw a clip in the film where Will Forte is in his hotel room and he gets this, suspicious call. Hey, what's up, Doc? And it's, didn't reveal a whole lot about the plot. But yeah, the thing that was really, really fun was a courtroom scene, which features Luis Guzman as the judge, and he opens up this case that has a real regular gavel and then a cartoon gavel, and he's sort of looking at the defendant. He's like, okay, he's a cartoon, and he picks up the cartoon gavel, he bangs it on the thing, and it goes squeak, squeak. We get a look at the jury, and it's got a bunch of human beings, and then like a sheep that's a cartoon, and then Prissy the hen, that one that's always crushing on Foghorn Leghorn. She's in there.
And the legal representation for the Acme Corporation is John Cena, which is fantastic.
So he's the lawyer. He's like the big, he's the Chad lawyer. Like he's the, he's got the chiseled jaw. He comes up and he gives this amazing like impassioned speech. And he pours a glass of water gracefully and goes, and it's all just like just shot really dramatically and epically. And he gives this big like heroic testimony to the jury. And he's like, yeah, it's freedom's what's being American all about. And clearly this coyote was really just endangering himself, which is his right. And then Will Forte gets up and basically spills water all over the table, and Wile E. Coyote's like falling over backwards, like just embarrassed, and Will Forte is just a complete wreck. And then he tries to demonstrate that, the Acme Corporation has defective products. Wile E. Coyote hands him a jet-powered roller skate. And he's like, as you can see, the ignition switch on this doesn't work at all. And he flicks it on, and he's just holding it. So anyway, and then it just lights up and starts shooting all over the room, and it runs into Wile E. Coyote, who catches on fire, and he starts running around, hits the judge in the head, and then it cuts to like a news story about the first day of court proceedings, and it's showing a bunch of police sketches or
courtroom sketches,
courtroom drawings of the things that are happening, and it's just. I mean, it's funny seeing human beings and cartoons interacting. It is even funnier seeing like bad courtroom sketch caricatures of those things happening.
It's awesome. This is
going to be a really funny movie. We got a glimpse of the trailer too, which I don't know. I was sort of almost worried that this is going to be like small scale.
Yeah.
They kind of name checked the Tom and Jerry movie that came out a while back, which I think some of the same people worked on it, which had that blend of animation and live action.
Yep.
That I feel like had too much people time, too much human time in it.
Definitely too much. And what was really cool about this trailer is we got to see Roadrunner and Wile E. Coyote doing the thing they always do, right? Roadrunner's kind of just running away or laughing or kind of just being cocky, just existing.
I'm actually unclear what Roadrunner's role in this really. He's definitely in it.
Yeah.
But like they kind of didn't focus on him. This is mostly about, as the title suggests, Wile E. Coyote and the Acme Corporation.
But you do get to see them interact like you would in a cartoon, but it's in live action, real life deserts shot in Albuquerque, which was fascinating. The panel opened up with the Nine Inch Nails Johnny Cash cover of Hurt and a montage of just classic moments of Wile E. Coyote getting hurt in movies. And then he sees Will Forte on TV being like, have you been injured by the Acme Corporation? Call this number.
Have you ever covered a road with dynamite and when you try to hit the ignition blows up? Give me a call.
Have you ever opened a parachute and nothing but silverware falls out? It was genuinely very funny.
And the panel itself was just wonderfully meta because they started talking about this stuff in the beginning, and then PJ Byrne, who's an actor who plays he plays an Acme rep who's there in the courtroom. He shows up like in Hall H with a stack of papers. He says, "You have to stop this panel right now. I'm here from the Acme Corporation." And that's the thing, is that the Acme Corporation in this context really works in a fascinatingly meta way, because the whole movie is kind of lampooning big evil corporations. They're kind of the bad guy, and I mean, not to put too fine a point on it, but WB is kind of the evil corporation here.
Yeah.
You know, they were trying to write this entire movie that people had spent, you know, thousands and thousands of hours making, and just be like, oh yeah, it's a tax write-off. And luckily, everyone kind of came together and got really pissed off at them, and they backed down, and now the movie is actually coming out. But yeah, there was a lot of very much kind of tongue-in-cheek, like, yeah, the Acme Corporation really tried to put a stop to this movie. They didn't want us to show people how much the Acme products could hurt people.
They very specifically did not mention Warner Brothers by name as like an evil corporation that stopped this movie from coming out, or tried to. Instead, they just repeatedly said the Acme Corporation didn't want you to see this movie. But now a distributor named Ketchup had got rights to it. This will get a worldwide global release. They repeatedly made the joke about how you could go to a theater in Singapore on the same day as any other time, any otherwhere on the planet, and watch this movie. They said it's going to be big in Singapore. So if you live in Singapore, make this movie big.
I want this movie to blow up. I want this movie to be a huge hit. You know, obviously, what I want doesn't necessarily materialize box office results in the real world, but like, I don't know. This just is already a really cool underdog story. There was kind of like a palpable energy in the room of just people who were just stoked that they're getting to see anything from this, and that it's showing signs of life, because, I don't know, there have been, you know, WB canceled a bunch of stuff. They like canned a bunch of things. That's been kind of the running theme with just across media in general, is things getting, you know, cut down and shut down and shoved away. But hearing that this was basically finished, and then it was just, no, you can't see it. So
yeah, since the sort of streaming era has begun, we've seen a lot of like finished, completed products just get stripped off of streaming services. We saw the show Willow come to Disney Plus. Everyone worked on that for like years, and they just deleted it one day. So this happens now. So if you're a fan of things actually making it to the finish line and coming to life after almost being canceled and cut off for tax purposes, buy tickets for this movie when you can, and go see it. Go support movies like this, because it's awesome. Also, it's really good looking. Like,
it's
everything
gorgeous.
we saw, the color grading is gorgeous. The cinematography is amazing. The scene that Max talked about like, you know, Luis Guzman pulling up a gavel, it reminded me so much of, like, you know, when they pull out the pistol in Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
It is extremely Roger Rabbit, but it also has a lot of modern sensibilities. Like, I would say it's probably going to look a little bit more like the recent Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers movie. Yeah. But it also just seems to be more kind of theatrical, more action-packed than that. Dave Green, who's directing it, he also did the second Ninja Turtles movie, Out of the Shadows, which we both love. I feel like not enough people saw that. But yeah, he's got a little bit of experience having animal people getting hurt in a live-action space, so I'm excited to see how they handle that. And they talked a little bit about the challenges of having, you know, a principal character who doesn't talk at all being somebody that they have to engage with on set. And the one way they worked around that is they did rehearsals with a Wile E. Coyote puppet. And they got those down, and then they just shot the scene with, you know, a tennis ball and a stick for the animators to go in.
It was a famous puppeteer who's been working on all like stuff for decades now. And
yeah, like Dark Crystal, like a bunch of Jim Henson background stuff. But it's I mean, at some point we'll get behind the scenes stuff here, but it seems like it's a really fascinating intersection of basically every type of filmmaking, where you've got live action, you've got puppeteering, you've got traditional animation, where they're getting 2D artists that are working on the Looney Tunes show. They're doing sketches, and then the 3D artists are going in and using those sketches as basically an animatic to put it into the live action space. And it's just, and then we got to see basically a live theatrical tangential production based around it. So it's just kind of, I don't know, fascinating multimedia product. And
it's awesome. They talked a bit about the rules of Wile E. Coyote and Roadrunner, which I wasn't fully aware of, but they are pretty much following to a T for this movie. And some of those rules are that Wile E. Coyote can only be more humiliated than hurt. The Roadrunner cannot hurt Wile E. Coyote. The Roadrunner has to stay on the road. And if the Roadrunner, or if Wile E. Coyote gets hurt, it has to be by sort of nature or an Acme product. And that Wile E. Coyote can't talk. And so in this movie, you'll see him hold up signs and stuff like that, and they had a character.
I think they said no dialogue.
No dialogue,
but, like, he does occasionally talk. You know, he says, like, my name is Mud or whatever, or super genius. But yeah, the gag with the signs is going to be used a whole lot. Actually, on the stage, they did have somebody in a Wile E. Coyote costume come out. I feel like maybe they wanted to get John Cena there, but he was busy with other stuff because he's also doing Peacemaker and whatnot. But they brought out Wile E. Coyote instead, and they asked Wile E. Coyote a few questions, and he held up signs saying yes and no, and they were like, something you excited about, blah, blah, blah. And then he holds up another sign that says, only so many signs, or so, limited number of signs, which is, like, very cute. John Cena could have been there. You know, he's notoriously hard to see,
Yeah,
so
we couldn't see
who's
him
to
if he
say?
was.
But I'm really excited to see just his side of the performance. We got a tiny glimpse of that in the the scene they showed, and I think it's going to be a really good time.
Yeah, this movie is going to be awesome. I'm so happy it's finally coming out. So yeah, Coyote versus Acme, August 28th, 2026, finally getting a release date. Hopefully you all get to see the trailers and the clips soon. They said that they were exclusive to the panel for now, but hey, you know how these things go. So for all things Coyote and Acme and Roadrunner and everyone else, keep it locked to IGN.
That's all, folks.
Meep, meep.